Hi, this is Robin Johnson from bestfromthenest.com, and I kind of wanted to give you a short taste of one of the talks that I did at ASD in Las Vegas in March, and that's how to use virtual assistants to scale your business. So, a little bit about us. If you don't know who I am, my name is Robin, and we started with $100 in like 2011-ish, and we've built our business starting from just buying things at garage sales and reselling them on Craigslist and eBay and Amazon, and we've built up a six-figure in business. We've sold over $1 million on Amazon. We've sold hundreds of thousands of dollars on eBay. We have a warehouse and employees now. And a lot of it has to do with the systems that we created that have really worked to help us scale our business faster and really allow us to employ more people locally. So it's a real blessing to be able to do that, to help others and to be able to provide for our family. So, why you should use a virtual assistant is it frees you up to work on more profitable items. If you're in the US and you've had a job recently, more than likely you've been paid at least $8 to $10 an hour at the absolute minimum. You can pay a virtual assistant in the Philippines, which is where I like to hire from, for like $4 an hour, sometimes even less than that. It reduces your staffing costs because it's less per hour. You don't have to. It reduces the workload for our on-site staff. So, when Rochelle or Gabe is here and they're working, our VA helps take care of some of that data entry stuff for them so that they're not having to worry about that. We don't have to worry about having more room in our warehouse for them or a computer. And we're able to hire them until we're able to hire somebody full-time to work for us here in the office. So it's really, we started with virtual assistants when we had outgrown what we could do physically, but had not reached a point where we could hire somebody yet full time to help us with our Amazon and eBay businesses. So, some tasks that are good for virtual assistants are data entry, online research, email management, and calendar management, and booking and research. I'll have done by with a VA that I've hired from the U.S. She's actually local here, so she comes into the office every now and again. But for the most part, she just works remotely from home on her own schedule. It's a great deal for her, and it works out great for us too. We've had virtual assistants list things on eBay for us, do online research. You could have them do online arbitrage. All those things that can be great for a virtual assistant. Usually when people talk about having a virtual assistant, they say, "Oh, well, I tried that once and I couldn't get them to understand me," or "they never did it right," or "they charged me 20 hours for this thing that should have taken them two, and I just got so frustrated it wasn't worth it." And those are all valid complaints, but they can be avoidable with the right preparation. So, systems are vital. People are usually focused on how to hire a virtual assistant, when really the most frustrating part can be training. And while you should expect a learning curve, your VA should make your life easier. If you're finding yourself banging your head against the wall for, more than a couple days, you should really look and see, is that VA the right person for your company? And if you find that your VA has done a task wrong, or maybe they misinterpreted something, take responsibility. What could you have done to make those instructions clearer? Or what could you have done to make sure that they clearly understood what the task was supposed to be and how you wanted it presented back to you? So people say, I don't want to have a lot of systems in my business because, I like having the freedom to do whatever I want. And systems don't limit you. They actually help free you up to do other things. Systems allow for quicker scaling for you to grow your business faster and for you to have more control over your day-to-day operations. Whoops. They also sorry about that. They also allow for redundancy for, if you have an emergency or a vacation, all of those things, they help you with those. So things that make a good system is that it's simple, that it reduces exceptions, that it maximizes efficiencies. So, if you have a system, even if you're the one packing your boxes, if you're saying, well, what we do, what we do in our warehouse is we unload everything, we put them all on the shelf, sort them by the same item. So if we have six of item A, we put them together, six of item B, we put them together. If something looks similar, we make sure they go on different shelves so they don't get miscounted. We count them all. enter them into Inventory Lab, and then when the labels print, we put them on the labels while they're on their shelves, and then we pull them for their specific shipment as it goes. So that keeps us from having to touch things over and over and over again, or having to move things over to the bubble wrap area and then back over here, and then I put them in this box and then Amazon moved them. This helps you stay more efficient, and a good system should be able to be done by others with minimal instruction. So you should be able to ask a friend or a neighbor, hey, can you read this? And if I asked you to do this, do you think that you could do it? Take their questions and add that into the system. This way, if you do end up in the hospital, which has happened to me, or you're passing it off to somebody else, which is ideal, it's going to be easy and you're not going to have as much problems with the items with the task being done incorrectly. So, in setting up systems, if you have a broken system, it will be magnified. So if you're trying to source wholesale and you're missing a step, or maybe you're not doing things more efficiently, very efficiently, then that's going to be magnified when you outsource that to your virtual assistants. Use programs to make your process as efficient as possible. So, whether it's Basecamp or Todoist, or, if you're using something like Inventory Lab, all your systems should be written out. And, it shouldn't include a lot of exceptions, like if this, do this, if this, do this. It should be, ABC. And then instead of having a lot of, except in this case, it should be like, if it doesn't apply to these three circumstances, forward it to me. You're going to make a video. If you see that little sun right up here, this little sun, this is Jing. This is how I record videos for my virtual assistants. It takes a screen capture just like with what I'm doing now in audio. And so I make a video of exactly. So here's where I want you to click, then move here. Here's where I want you to click. You're going to save that file, that video, and then make a text document. This is how you click here, click here, click here. Copy this. Here's this item. Click here. And then, so you're going to give them the text instructions and the video. And that should clear up a lot of questions at the same time. Make sure you save these. So if you have to let go of a virtual assistant and have to retrain somebody else, you already have it done. You might have to update videos and instructions occasionally as Amazon's platform changes, but it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. Make sure when you're using a virtual assistant that you think about security. Consider using a generic VA email address, so so that they are emailing from an email address that's not their name. It's like we have an email that's excellence@robinsnest.co, and so that's what our virtual assistant Sam uses when she's emailing on my behalf. Use separate logins whenever possible. So in Amazon, if you're going to have somebody do something in your Amazon account, don't give them your login. Give them create their own login under your account, and you have them use their own password. And this way you can just delete that user login. And this works for banks. It works for a lot of different programs. If you have to share a password, use something like LastPass to share that password. Make sure you keep a list of all the logins you've given every virtual assistant. So if you have to let them go, you can say, okay, these are all the passwords I need to change. And I'm just going to say this once, but it's bold and in capitals for a reason. Never give out your marketplace credentials. Never give your Amazon email and password out. I don't care how much you trust them. Don't give them your eBay email address and password. Your PayPal, Amazon, and eBay credentials all should have separate passwords. They should not have a shared password. If you're on eBay, you can't have an additional user on your eBay account. So we use Seller Sourcebook. It generates a token, so they have access to that, but they don't have access to my actual eBay account where they could change some of the more important settings on there. You still need to watch. You need to keep an eye, look for honesty in your VAs. But those are some things that you need to think about with security. We hire usually on Odesk or Elance. We've tried some domestic agencies like Red Butler and Zirtual, and I haven't had a good experience with either of them, so I can't really recommend them for what we're doing. But I have had a great luck on Odesk with per job or ongoing, and I've had luck finding people in the U.S. and I've had people in the Philippines. I like hiring people from either the U.S. and that's usually going to be between $10 and $30 an hour, or in the Philippines. And I've paid between $3 and $6 an hour for Philippines, for people from the Philippines to work for us. Outside of programming, things like that is more. Nice thing about Odesk is it takes a snapshot randomly throughout in time intervals as they're working, so you can see what they're doing on their screen. So if you have any question of are they working or not, you can look at that work diary and see. So Fiverr, you're going to look at this is things for like logo design, quick data entry, something you're just going to have once. It can be hit and miss, but it's good for, easy items or something you don't want to hire somebody long term for. It's just you just need one photo edited, something like that. So, prepping your job post is an important part of your training. You want to outline exactly what needs to be done. Prioritize timelines and tasks. So say, I'm going to need you to check in this often, and this are the things you're going to do. Keep your skill sets realistic. It's not going to be very likely that you're going to find somebody who's copywriting and doing data entry and doing your photo editing and is doing your bookkeeping. It's not realistic to expect somebody to do all of those things. So keep it realistic. Determine the budget that you have and the timelines. Be honest. If you say that you're going to hire them full time, hire them full time. If you say you're going to need them as needed, you can always up that to full time later. But don't mislead anybody into thinking they're going to have a more secure job than they really are. When we post on Odesk, we usually post with a catch. So what I mean with that is a catch on the posting side would be something like, only applications with a cover letter will be accepted, or only applications that indicate your favorite color will be accepted. Sometimes we'll do things like, if you don't answer the questions below, we'll put this in bold and capital. Only if you answer all 5 questions below will your application be accepted. Let's make sure that you get people that actually read and follow directions and not just kind of glance at things. Regardless, even if it's data entry and numbers, you should look for fluency in English and be very specific on your timelines. This is a task, I expect this task to be done in 2 hours. So this is an example of something we posted for a VA for data entry. So we were looking for a couple people to do this. You can pause this YouTube video if you want to read it. And so we basically say this is what we're looking for. We set the expectations that they are going to acknowledge a task when it's received. So if I send somebody an email with a task, they should reply back saying, I received this item. It should be done on Tuesday by 3 o'clock Pacific time. And I have questions on the following. And I make sure that I'm very clear with them, very clear that I would rather have them ask 100 questions than do an entire project wrong. And in the beginning, I won't give them an entire project. I'll give them 5 lines, or I'll give them 10 lines of a spreadsheet to work on. Have them do that, make sure it's right, and then give them the rest of the project. So when we welcome them to the team, we'll say, here's the thing, and then we'll let them know we've hired 5 to 7 people for this item and for this task. We're only going to be continuing working with couple 3 in this instance, or 2. We say this is the task. It should take you no longer than 10 minutes to complete. Here's my expectations, daily statuses, delivery quotes, and that anything that we use is not shared with anybody else. And I will be on until a certain time, Pacific time. I'd like this done tomorrow at a specific time. Don't just hire one person. Sometimes you hire one person and it's almost working out, and then the more time you invest, the more you want to make it work because you don't want to start over. So hire 2 to 7 people for a task. Give them all the exact same thing. So you're going to give them the exact same 10 lines of things. Yes, you're wasting money having them all do that. But you can pick the 3 that move the best, move on to the next round, and then give them, maybe you have, 100 price lists to go through. You have 3 websites you want to go through. Give them each one, and whoever does the work with the highest quality, with the quickest turnaround time, you can keep them. And this way, you're not stuck having to start all over again, having lost 2 weeks of training time um, with somebody doesn't work out. And it also gives you a chance to get to know somebody before you start to give them passwords and logins and all this other stuff. You can see if they're going to be somebody that's going to have the communication skills, and the whatever skills for what the skills for whatever task, whether it's email or phone calls or data entry that you need. So this is how we do it, and it has sped up our training time and our retention rates significantly. So the reason why we have them all do the same task is it eliminates the excuse of unclear expectations, and it makes sure that your expectations are reasonable. So if one person out of 10 says the instructions didn't make sense, well, then that was probably the one person. If, 6 people out of 7 say that, I know you asked us to complete this in 2 hours, sir, but, it took me 4, and then you know that your expectation of 2 hours wasn't reasonable. And this reduces training time and risk of delayed projects. So we use video and text. We use Jing. You can also use Snagit. We're overly clear. So I mean, like you're talking to somebody who has never done anything, because most of them have not ever done this. This is where the rank will be. This is where you will find this item. This is where you should click. And we use LastPass for password sharing. 1Password is also a very good option if you don't like cloud-based. You just want to check for the encryption as it's getting sent over. So if we have a task description, so I'll say install this, the widget, search by ASIN, and then here's the items that we want, and then put all this in the spreadsheet, see the video for more information. So I'd actually video me doing 2 of them so they could see exactly how it's done, and then I'd have 5 or 10 more for them to complete on their own. So that's kind of like a crash course in how we do virtual assistants. I'm available for coaching, as well as I have an amazing team. My husband, Nate Johnson, and Rochelle Sanchez, my operations manager. If you go to bestfromthenest.com, you can click on coaching. If you can also sign up for my email newsletter, so you can get more, access to more videos like this, and content on different things that I found that have been helpful for us to grow our business. Thanks.